Boris Breskvar in Lyman. Boris Breskvar, who was Boris Becker's first coach, incidentally, and what a triumph from the same tiny corner of Germany to have produced those two great world champions. All set then for the start of the 1995 ladies singles final.
Miss Graf to serve.
With Graf to serve.
Play. Fifteen love. Out. 30 love. Out. 40 love. Game is Graf. First game.
So a very emphatic start by Graf. Is that the sort of pattern we're going to expect?
I don't think one can put too much importance on the first game of a match, but certainly it illustrated just what Steffi's game plan is, you know, big serves and hit big bullets after that. There is always the chance, when she is doing that well, that she can absolutely wipe out her opponent. However, Arantxa is one of the few players who will chase the ball till kingdom come, and the winners will not be allowed to be as frequent. If I was Steffi, I would have, against playing Arantxa, I would have made sure that I hit a lot of overheads in my practice, because for sure she'll be getting a lot as Arantxa starts to retreat well.
So playing each other now for the 34th time. 25 wins to Graf, 8 to Sanchez, and the only one on grass was here at Wimbledon.
Miss Sanchez Vicario to serve.
So on that evidence, Graf would be the obvious favourite.
Out. 15 love.
It's obvious that Arantxa knows that she's got to take the attack to Steffi, and if she can serve and volley that well, she could cause her a lot of problems.
$40 love. Game is Sanchez Vicario. One game more.
So a lovely start by Sanchez Vicario. Battle is joined.
$15 love. 30 love.
Sure you will have noticed that flat lifted backhand just now, not the usual slice from that wing.
Second serve. Thirty 15.
Those overheads away, they're very difficult, and she gets up for them and smashes them back in the middle of the court, which gets her nowhere really against Arantxa.
Well,
that's what she has to do. Take every opportunity to hustle Graf, force her to hit passing shots.
Game is Graf. Graf leads 2-1 first set.
A very powerful game there from Steffi Graf. History is also in favour of her here, of course, Virginia, because for the 22nd time the numbers 1 and 2 seeds are playing here since seeding first started in 1927, and the top seed has won 16 of those times.
That's a very interesting statistic. They also, you know, she has won this tournament 5 times, so basically she's much more familiar out here. But there is pressure on her because she's expected to win. Just a quick look at that last point, because we saw quite a lot of different things, and I think we are going to see different things in this match. We also had a one-handed backhand from Arantxa, because Steffi hit this ball so well that she could only poke it up with this. Now again, she gets the overhead and she doesn't just angle it off. She takes almost too big a swing and puts topspin on instead of just either angling it off to the one way or the other. At least she got herself up to the net and won a volley quite early in the match. If you don't go into the net early enough in the match, you start really hesitating to go.
love.
It's a good omen for Steffi if her forehand down the line is working. This is early in the match, not really any tension on it yet. where
30-15.
was Steffi? She was in position here, but her racket was sort of trailing down, and I guess she just didn't really want to hit that ball.
(40-15). Game is Sanchez Vicario. Two games all. Love 15.
Sun at this stage of the afternoon is really brutal for about 20 minutes or so right now.
Oh! 15-30.
So the half chance here for Sanchez Vicario.
This one's easier. It's shorter, but she's still got the sun to contend with.
(40-30). Second serve. Game is Graf. Graf leads 3-2 first set.
Well, it seems to me that the outcome of this match, Virginia, is going to depend on one or two things. One of them unknown, of course, and that is Graf's back at the moment. That seems fine. But as far as Sanchez Vicario goes, I think it depends how well she can return the Graf serve. Graf, one of the best servers in the world. If she can hustle without making too many errors and chip and charge and put the pressure on Graf and commit her all the time, and therefore dictate the way the rallies go, she stands a chance. But if she can't do that, I think she could be swamped.
I think that's exactly right, and I think, therefore, it's very good that she's actually been coming in so much early in the match and telling Steffi what she's really setting out to do, and say, you know, I'm going to be here and I'm going to really try. This is the way I'm going to play you today. I'm going to rush you and I'm going to attack your backhand and retrieve, and I think she's doing that fine. I find it interesting that when Steffi won the toss, Arantxa put her to serve in the sun the first game, because, you know, she's always the second one serving, which is a little bit of a disadvantage. Now she's got the sunny side to contend with. 2-3.
Out. 15 love. Out. 30 love.
Well, Steffi dominated that point, but she didn't win it.
Oh, lovely attacking return. He takes it on the
30,
right,
15.
moving forward to meet it. Here it is. Lovely footwork. The racket going right through the path she intends the ball to follow.
Thank you.
Had served out wide
30 all.
several times on the other side to Steffi's forehand, precisely because she runs around the return as well as she did there. See, that's her favorite shot, to run around a backhand.
(40-30).
And a wonderful reaction from Sanchez Vicario at the end of that longest rally of the match. Wonderful control from both of them.
Game is Sanchez Vicario. Three games all.
And significantly finding the Graf backhand, her only really known weakness. And that's only relatively speaking.
(15 love). (15 all). 30-15.
Steffi did well to hit that forehand right in the corner, having missed the previous one, which was rather similar by miles.
I can understand her concern. It was, well, I mean, my eyes aren't as young as they were, but I felt it was
But
in.
you.
Here it is again, look. And a lovely drive. Dropping. Oh, well, having seen it again, I think it probably was out. Yes, my eyes aren't as young as they were. Paul Tilden, the great American champion of the 1920s, used to say, if you can break down a good player's great shot, then you're in business. Not that it's broken down yet beforehand, but it was an error and a break point.
Game is Sanchez Vicario. Ball change, please. Sanchez Vicario leads 4-3 first set.
So Steffi making a bunch of errors on the forehand there, but the thing that caused the errors was the smart play from Arantxa, because Arantxa has managed to slow the ball down a little bit and put a little bit more topspin on the ball and take away the power that Steffi can just connect with, and also giving herself a little bit more time to chase the next ball down.
So the Duke and Duchess of Kent there with the club's chairman, John Curry. And of course, on this very important day for Spain, the son and daughter of King Juan Carlos and Queen Sofia of Spain are here. That's His Royal Highness Prince of Asturias and Her Royal Highness the Infanta Donna Cristina. And the Foreign Secretary that was behind Douglas Hurd and Mrs. Hurd. So a wonderful moment for Sanchez Vicario to have achieved the first break in the match.
Love.
Such a good shot from Arantxa. All she does is take it early and make it fade away.
Love.
At the moment, Steffi Graf unable to release the tension of the arm.
Game, Sanchez Vicario. Sanchez Vicario leads 5-3.
So that second ace for Sanchez, giving her the 5-3 lead.
Love.
Well, Arantxa
15 all.
is sitting over on the left side of the court, protecting her forehand. That's what she gets.
Fifteen 30.
I'm not sure that
30 all.
Steffi Graf, seeing it from the other end, knew exactly where she was trying to play that, but it just landed in.
Forty 30. Game is Graf. Miss Sanchez Vicario leads 5 games to 4, first set.
So a marvellous spell at the moment from Sanchez Vicario against a player who is perhaps a little tenser than she might be. But this next service game is certainly in her first Wimbledon final not going to be easy.
She looks as if she's absolutely in control of herself and her game, and as if she's thinking clearly and if she's enjoying the situation. But that break came almost too easily, and so I'm sure she will begin to think somewhat about the importance of the score at this moment. See, I think that what you have to do with Arantxa, she's such a good player, but although she doesn't look as if she has huge weapons, I think you have to overestimate her in your mind when you go on court against her. And I think it's very easy to underestimate her.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Steffi did actually say that was what she wasn't going to be underestimated. She said she realised that she was going to have a real fight and that you'd have to play her the best. Well, Marissa there. Keep your fingers crossed. Arantxa serving for the first set. And Dad there with his arms crossed. He's still here. He hasn't had to leave yet.
Fifteen love. Thirty love.
Well, 2 easy points for Arantxa here.
30-15.
She just didn't look at that ball. Her eyes were way up and the ball did shoot through a little bit.
So another unforced error from Graf's racket gives Sanchez Vicario 2 set points.
Game, first set.
seed, takes the first set. And Graf, at the moment, is not
Second
playing
set, Miss Graf to serve.
not playing with the freedom that she needs if she's going to win this title. A little bit of worrying time for Heinz Gundhardt, her coach.
Love. Love. 40 love. $40-15.
She's jumping at her forehand a little bit, not staying down with it and hitting through.
$40-30. Game is Graf. First game, second set. First set, Miss Sanchez Vicario.
Well, absolutely essential for Graf to have won that convincingly, that first game, but it wasn't that convincing.
Well, the trouble is that she's winning points when Arantxa makes an error, but there's not really a rally, so it doesn't really give her the true essence of what's going on the court. And when she's losing points, when the rallies are a little bit longer, it seems to be that Arantxa has very consciously tried to slow the pace down, to make her hesitate a little bit, to make her doubt her own footwork and that sort of thing. And the other thing that Arantxa is doing very well to Steffi today is successfully playing her backhand. Now, if the court is as fast as a grass court is, it makes the decision when to run around your backhand that much harder, because you know, a lot of backhands you can't run around and hit forehands. You just don't have the time to do that.
Probably of all the opponents she could have played in these championships, she's playing the person who gets to more balls than anyone. So she's having to make her winners twice, hence some of the unforced errors. Love one, second set.
Love.
Well, that must be worrying for all those who are supporting Graf today. A wild forehand. She hasn't really got the timing yet on either wing.
Again, it's good play from Arantxa. This ball is deep
40 love.
Steffi pushes it down the line rather than hitting it and is still recovering from her shot when that one goes past. Finally, you thought that Steffi actually made a big decision to just get around and hustle and thump the ball, and that might help her.
Game is Sanchez Vicario. 1 game all, second set.
So again, the errors from Graf contributing to Sanchez Vicario's service game.
Just look there, the returns that Steffi's making are way, way lower than Sanchez Vicario. 84%, that's very good returning on a fast grass court.
Love.
One of the reasons Graf missed that shot was because Sanchez Vicario had already set off in chase.
(30-15).
Just looking up there at Jane Tabor to get a reassuring nod that yes, it was a good call, it was long. Trying just to block it back, as Udina Wade has said, to take the pace off the ball.
Retrieving from Arantxa, and there it is again. That
40-15.
Difficult overhead and not what I would call a perfect smash, but it wins Steffi the point.
Game is Graf. Graf leads 2-1, second set. First set, Miss Sanchez Vicario.
Steffi Graf still seems to be struggling with her timing on the court. She's having a lot of balls that are low and she's poking at them rather than being able to really hit them. We had that lovely long rally 2 points ago, and she really had to... She starts off, the serve is absolutely fine, although I feel she's turning in, squaring off a little bit more than usual at the moment. But look here, you see doesn't look that comfortable right there. Her footwork, she's sort of overbalanced as she hit it. Now this one, here's her favorite shot, and this one she hits perfectly. Everything's going forward there. She knows she's done some damage, and Arantxa's just retrieving this one. But you see, that one was very low. She couldn't do too much with it. And she's going to have to be ready for another ball that just poked back and stayed low. And that is not the way she likes to hit the forehand. She likes to hit it with top spin and go for it. Now, if she could take this overhead slightly further in front of her and just be a bit firmer on the wrist, I feel she would angle it and be more economical with the smash.
Oh. 15 love. Dino.
Brilliant
30-15.
bit of racket work. Only right at the end did she show she was going to do a drop shot.
(40-15).
Still the timing isn't there.
(40-30).
Actually, slightly better backhands from Steffi, but did she get lucky here?
Advantage Miss Sanchez Vicario.
And for the first time, a little bit of indecision.
Advantage Miss Graf.
If anything's going to go on Arantxa, it's that forehand. First break point she's had.
Game Miss Graf. Miss Graf leads 3-1, second set.
And Sanchez Vicario herself now beginning to tighten up just
Thank
a little
you.
on this.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Graf therefore with a break for the first time. 3-1, second set.
Tremendous anticipation from Arantxa. She nearly always goes the right way, but she couldn't cover that.
(30 love).
Didn't seem possible that she was going to get to this
30-15.
thumping forehand in time. Not only did she get there, but she contrived that lovely angle with heavy topspin. Whoops.
40-30. Game is Graf. Miss Graf leads 4-1, second set. First set, Miss Sanchez Vicario.
And what a change has come over this match. As Graf began to relax, so Sanchez Vicario tightened. The unforced errors came from her. And Graf with a 4-1 lead. In the first set, you know, Sanchez Vicario lost only 4 points on her own serve. In that one game just now, when she lost her serve, she lost more than that.
Well, and that, if you think about it, only losing 4 games on her serve in the first set didn't really give her a full indication of what she was up against. And it seems, as you say, John, that now Steffi, what I think is that Steffi finally has come to terms with the fact that she's not hitting the ball well enough to just go out there and blast winners. So she's gone almost to plan 2, which is to guts it out, to not lose rallies, rather than thinking so much about I've got to win this point. And I think that really can tighten up your game and pull it together, and before you know it, you can turn things around. She started to really step into the ball better and control it better.
Probably breathing a little more easily now. Thanks, Gunther. Not to mention Peter and Heidi Graf on the left of your picture there, with Klaus Hofsass, who runs German tennis for women.
Steffi muttering to herself and really unhappy with that shot. I think she thought the volley was going out.
$30. 30-15.
This overhead is really the first one that she's hit really smack in the middle of the racket. It's actually the 5th tough overhead.
40-30.
Very quick to spot the very poor length of that second serve.
Juice.
Better play from Steffi. She's so annoyed with herself missing that forehand 2 points ago. She's picked the level up a touch. Arantxa
Advantage,
did
Miss
well.
Graf.
This is not an easy shot, and she nearly got it. Arantxa looked out of the rally for a while, and then Steffi actually again picked herself up and concentrated really hard and made sure she won that with determination.
Game is Graf. Ball change, please. Miss Graf leads 5-1, second set.
And that first double fault from her opponent. Really rather confirming that she's not the relaxed player who won the opening set. Change of tennis balls. And Graf poised to make it 1 set all.
From the far end, how would you like to face that? Pretty accurate.
Left. 2nd serve.
Very
30-15.
nicely done from Arantxa. Good footwork, hit it early. And Steffi just left stranded.
That you.
Yes, and to her credit, even after that forehand error on the previous point, she goes on pressing home the attack. Set point.
Juice.
Well, it was such a good get of Arantxa off the previous shot.
advantage
this
is Graf.
is a very courageous shot. It is a lob that would have landed almost on the baseline, and she didn't compromise. And I think the facial expression said it all afterwards. Set point number 2.
Game, second set, Miss Graf. 6 games to 1. One set all.
What a lovely finish to that set. Very hotly contested game, the last one. And Graf now, at least, is back on level terms, and I'm sure now feeling much more happy about the possible outcome here, because she's being made to work very, very hard.
Well, ever since she was 15-40 down in the previous game and then won 4 points in a row, she's got pumped up, and that was a very difficult shot there, but she made it. She concentrated here. She's got to face another difficult shot. And here, look, this one reaches as high as the camera that's on the high crane outside practically, and she just crunched that, and she knew she took a chance with that. She has made every overhead today, and that, I know I've kept on a little bit about the overhead, but Arantxa is such a brilliant retriever, and she wins match after match of tight matches with just retrieving and putting up that high lob and taking the play back to square one.
And here's an interesting statistic for you. Look at the number of baseline winners. Forehands, Graf, 11. Sanchez, forehands, 4. Backhands, Graf, none. Well, that's what you'd expect, because she runs round the ball to club that forehand. And 6 backhand winners from Sanchez. So, in fact, very level, as the score would suggest in the total terms, but all Graf's winners coming from the forehand.
Steffi just doing a few stretches there, and it's a slightly longer crossover time because Arantxa has just disappeared, which you are allowed to do if you have an escort with you.
So what a lovely match this has turned out to be on a perfect summer's afternoon on the centre court. Back comes Sanchez Vicario. Graf already out to get on with it.
Arantxa having put on a dry shirt. Well, that's
Time.
typical English weather for you.
Well, it's typical of this Wimbledon, thank goodness. What a treat it's been to be bathed in sunshine day after day.
Final set. Miss Sanchez Vicario to serve.
So, all to play for.
Love.
A 4th ace of the match and on a second serve. Disappointment more than anything else, I think, because it was a beautifully constructed approach. Jane Tabor can't possibly overrule it. Far too close. It has to be a clear mistake, and I don't think this was a mistake, was it? Just long.
And actually, the lob that Steffi hit landed like 2 inches inside the line, so I think it would have been a winner anyway.
30 all.
Well, I think the ball keeping just a little low there. Let's have a look. Heavy slice, and that would do it. Shooting through and wrecking the timing of Sanchez Vicario, who now faces a break point.
Juice.
Really rather uncoordinated forehands.
Advantage, Miss Sanchez Vicario.
It was one of those points after which you say, phew.
Game, Miss Sanchez Vicario. First game, final sets.
Well, she was a little bit lucky on that last point, was Arantxa. Lived dangerously on that service game, Virginia.
But if you look at this ball that Steffi finally hits on the tape, this is a shot that Steffi's having a lot of trouble with. She's just not timing it at all. She's not getting her feet over at the right time. And that one, she did well to get over touching the tape. Slowed it right down. Ball is short, it's got a lot of spin on it, it's bouncing out. I mean, out of the court, it's keeping moving out of the court.
Time.
Well, the German ambassador there, Dr. Jürgen Osterheld and Mrs. Osterheld, I think they'll be pretty relieved to have seen Steffi winning that second set. And of course, Boris Becker to look forward to tomorrow.
Love.
It's a pretty good love, and she's still struggling to regain her balance, so let's hit a winner.
Well, only the second really good topspin backhand, which in practice with Heinz Gontard she hits all day long.
40-15.
She really is just hating that return that Arantxa sort of pokes back and it's sitting there with no pace on it.
Game is Graf. One game all, final set.
Nice time for the first ace to bring up 1 game all.
Love 15.
Exactly the right thing to do, and she
Love
gets
30.
it. It's so hard to look how she has to stay down and be reaching out at the same time.
Love 14.
I'm not surprised. The pressure from having just seen a winner, for that's what that volley had been, hit past her, has really knocked her.
Game is Graf. Graf leads 2-1, final set.
Both such great athletes, and you have to hand it to Steffi that she tries for absolutely everything.
And today she hasn't, I don't think, been in full flight yet, but Arantxa, you know, she has lost that game, but she has such a reputation for a fighter. You know, it's as if what she thinks about tennis is that the real battle, when it's really close and tense, is what it's all about, and that's what she relishes. And this is going to stand in very good stead. I mean, I still don't know how this third set, I can't feel what's going to happen, but I've seen them play so many times before, and she can be all but down and out, and she finds a way to come back, and she can save match points, she can hang in and convert the match. Steffi, on the other hand, I almost feel actually prefers to be in front. She, as soon as it gets into the real tussle and the real challenge, she begins to get a little bit tense.
Well, they're here, the Spanish supporters, with their painted faces and their cameras. And you'll hear plenty of shouts of Olé anytime Arantxa hits a winner. With a break, Graf 2-1. On
15
the line.
love.
Yes, good call, or good no call.
Love.
Return.
30-15.
Miss-hit, spin on, and, well, but we'll make the most of it.
So one of the key points of the match right here. Protecting this break of 2-1, 30 all. Yeah, well played, Sanchez.
Footy. Game, Sanchez Vicario. Two games all, final sets.
And succumbing to the pressure exerted by Sanchez Vicario really on that previous
Thank you,
point.
ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
So a marvellous match this has turned out to be. 2 all. The issue again wide open.
Love 15.
This is a good composed point from Steffi because she might well have been unsettled after giving up that previous game.
Oh. 15 all. Fifteen 30.
Tiny bit slow running round that backhand to hit the favourite shot. Two all, 30 all. Final set.
First serve.
She's had today.
30-40.
But this is a horrible shot. She doesn't like those awkward short balls. This one equals the number she's had throughout the entire tournament.
9th winning smash today.
Juice. Advantage with Sanchez Vicario.
Good hustling tactics again. The fact that she was at the net was enough. Lovely half volley, but she hit on the way in.
away
Juice.
there, so, well, she's had enough practice today. Arantxa doing well to stay in that point that long.
Advantage with Sanchez Vicario. Juice. Advantage Miss Graf. Juice.
So the fourth deuce and the longest game in the match so far.
Advantage with Sanchez Vicario. Game with Sanchez Vicario. Sanchez Vicario leads 3-2, final set.
What a marvellous competitive game that was. 2 break points saved. Sanchez Vicario, the absolute epitome of concentration and determination. But significantly again, Virginia, as in the first set, Graf's 2 losing points, both.
Right, and now she goes and retrieves again, and that's the little shot that is causing the damage.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Quiet, please.
1 break apiece in this final set. 2-3.
Love.
See, that time Steffi knew she had to go forward to that short ball. Not her favorite move, though.
Love.
It's been a while since
30-15.
she's followed it up, and why not? I mean, she volleys so well.
Oh, well played. And really hustling now.
30 all.
Absolutely determined. And she knows that she's
Thank you.
worrying the former champion. 30 all.
Forty 30. Game is Graf. Three games all, final set.
So a game, as you would expect from somebody who's been so often in this final, a game full of character when it was needed. 2-3 becomes 3 all.
Love 15. Fifteen all. First serve. Thirty 15.
Thing to pull Steffi in and make her run
40,
when
15.
she hits that sort of return back. It makes sense. Good playing by Arantxa.
Game with Sanchez Vicario. And Sanchez Vicario leads 4 games to 3, final set.
So playing very cleverly, serving jolly well wide slices to the forehand, playing to her strength, and then constructing good rallies thereafter, and always hustling, charging in, forcing Graf to pass. And when Graf is playing somebody, as we said at the start, who is dictating the way the rallies are played, she does not like it.
You're so right. I mean, Steffi is not at her favorite type of game when she's having to just retrieve, and she's playing some very defensive backhands, and now she's afraid to hit her forehand. It's like she goes to hit it, and then there's that split second of hesitation, and that's when the errors come in. This is a really crunch game for Steffi.
Time.
Hasn't served particularly convincingly today. In fact, Steffi has not been able to play on her own terms whatsoever.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Players are ready.
3-4.
Thank you. $15 love.
Oh no, a long stare at the line from Sanchez, but it was well in.
$15
I don't like the look of this from Graf's point of view at the moment. In the past, in the recent past, when she's had long final sets against Sanchez Vicario and even had match points in them, she's lost.
$30. $40-30. Game is Graf. Ball change, please. Four games all, final set.
And again, coming through marvellously well when it really mattered with that lovely heavy serve. New balls, 4-all, final set.
$15 love. $30 love. $40 love.
A fifth ace.
Game is Sanchez Vicario. Sanchez Vicario leads 5-4, final set.
And what a moment for Marisa Sanchez Vicario, who's been around the world ever since Arantxa was a junior, watching her in so many finals, but no occasion, Virginia, greater than this.
No, I mean, this is absolutely incredible. I mean, and the crowd goes crazy 1 minute and then there's a deafening silence. But you know, John, the big thing is that Arantxa likes being in a tussle. She likes a score to be 4-all in the third. She likes to have to dig deep and produce and bounce up and down and sort of threaten her opponent in a very confident way, in a body language way. And let me tell you that I don't think Steffi Graf really enjoys having a match as tight as this. She falters, she gets very shaky, she doesn't know what to do.
Thank you.
Is it overruled? No, called out. I saw some talk. Not talk, as I must remind myself.
He called it good. He called it good. He called it first. No, he called it good. You overrule that?
Well, what an extraordinary thing. There was certainly a puff of the material the line is composed of now, titanium pigment and china clay. Well, I don't know. Seeing it again, I must admit it looked out, didn't it?
Yeah.
First serve.
Well,
30 love.
the policy worked. The execution followed the policy. Brave play.
$30-15. Thank you. Quiet, please.
Rally for the two of them. The final put away.
40-15.
The crowd oohing and eyeing on every shot.
Game's all, final set.
So Graf answering all the awkward questions magnificently. Peter Graf and Heidi, mum and dad, suffering as they always do.
Love 15. Fifteen. First serve. Thirty 15.
Only just out at the baseline. Steffi Graf being made to look like a bird with clipped wings here.
After the end of this very important point.
40-30.
Lovely touch and not the sign of wavering.
Juice.
Having a look from the far end, finally she can make herself go for a bigger shot. Every point so tense.
Advantage Miss Sanchez Vicario. Juice.
sixth ace.
Juice. Advantage, Miss Graf.
The moment she's been waiting for. Slightly more tense backhand there, ending in the net and producing this break point.
First serve. Juice.
I didn't hear a string go, but it may have done. Or is it a towel she wants? It's a towel.
The return is a lot better than most of them have been, but it's beaten by an even better shot.
Advantage, Miss Sanchez Vicario.
It seems as either one gutses it out and hits a better shot, it comes back with interest.
Juice.
5 deuces now, so this game has become the longest of the match.
Such a difficult shot, this one that Arantxa hits, but she was
Advantage, Miss
stretchy
Graf.
enough. It seemed to just pop up and bounce a tiny bit higher, and that gave Steffi a better go at it. Second break point only.
Brilliant. And well might she look heavenwards to thank whoever is up there, because that was the most beautiful struck volley.
Juice.
Very, very difficult to control, so low and dipping. Living on the knife edge, though.
Advantage, Miss Graf. Juice.
Playing now from instinct. instinct for survival.
Thank you.
Ball!
There's been no payoff. There's been a
Advantage,
response.
Miss Sanchez Vicario.
Game point for the 5th time? Plenty.
Juice. First serve.
Easily
Advantage, Miss Sanchez Vicario.
the best game of the match, certainly the longest. After 8 deuces, it's been going about 12 minutes now. And a 6th chance to hold. Would you believe it? The most beautiful approach from Graf is met with a lovely firm racket, but just blocking the ball wide.
Advantage, Miss Sanchez Vicario.
Ball! Some truly miraculous points here, each forcing the other by the depth and ferocity of their drives, forcing the errors. Deuce for the 10th time.
She just doesn't have the energy to get
Advantage,
there.
Miss Sanchez Vicario.
what would it do to win 2 points in a row?
Well, one of the greatest games, single games in a women's final I've seen for years. Eight times she's had a chance to hold serve. 3 times Steffi has held the break point.
Advantage Miss Graf.
So for the 4th time, there's a chance for Graf to move ahead.
Had landed on the line. Steffi isn't really doing that well when she comes up to the net, and that was a difficult shot to come in.
Juice.
When you consider what is at stake here at 5-all in the final set of the Wimbledon Championship final, well, they're playing the most wonderful tennis.
Advantage Miss Graf.
This time, well, she looks astonished, but it was out. And a forced error here by the presence of Graf at the net, crowding Sanchez Vicario, as so often today. She herself has been crowded by the Spaniard. So a good call. And again, a break point. Number 5.
Juice.
One of the longest games I can remember. 14 deuces, 18.5 minutes.
That it's going to be a cross-court passing
Advantage
shot.
Miss Graf.
Just squeezes her racket onto the ball. Sixth break point.
They go on applauding.
Miss Graf leads 6 games to 5, final set.
That was one of the truly heroic games it's been my privilege to watch on this great stage. Courage from both, tension, testing shots that they're both being asked to play, and Graf getting round to hit that favourite forehand, bouncing on her toes. And forcing the error from the reluctant racket of Sanchez Vicario, who nets the backhand to give her the break at last. At the 6th time of asking.
A match
Time.
within a match, that game was. On court. Just coming up to 2 hours. So that game took almost 20% of the whole time of this match. But she's still got to play at least one more game.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Serving now for the title. First foot fault today.
Love.
And suddenly, the tension of the moment becomes too much. 3 errors from the Sanchez Vicario racket. 3 championship points.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it.
Game, set, match. Miss Graf. 2 sets to 1. 4-6. 6-1. 7-5.
A standing ovation. Everybody here absolutely thrilled with the quality of this match and with the fact that the great champion has regained her crown. For the 6th time, Steffi Graf is top of the heap. And running off, I think, just perhaps to change a shirt before the closing ceremony, remembering that she does have this back problem which needs constant attention. And I think there, Virginia, we must congratulate Arantxa's courage and tenacity in her first Wimbledon final, making such a fight of it.
Oh, she is such a brilliant fighter. I mean, she is made of tough stuff, Arantxa. Talking to Alan Mills, and she's still able to smile. When she hit that last ball out, her shoulders just sank about 6 inches because the hope must have been running so high in her that she might manage to turn this into an incredibly memorable win. She played so well. She has to, I think everybody has to be so proud of her as a performer. There's so much to learn from the guts and the fight that she produces.
And there is Steffi, just a hug first to her coach, Heinz Gunthardt, and then mum and dad. What a moment for Peter Graf, who taught her to play tennis at the age of 4 with a sawn-off racket. Has supervised the coaching she received from Boris Breskvar first, and then a succession of helpers until Heinz Gunthardt. And was here again, as he always is, to see her triumph. And now that lovely moment when the Duke and Duchess of Kent make their way down to the door through which the players came in onto centre court with those immortal words from Kipling: if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. Chris Gorins, the chief executive here, and Tony Gathercole, the assistant referee, who will conduct them through the line of ball boys and ball girls. Steffi first, getting back to her place. A very, very emotional time for her, because there was a moment when she wondered whether her career had come to an end as a result of that bone spur on the sacroiliac joint in her back. Duke and Duchess of Kent then, and I'm sure they'll stop and have a little chat with some of the boys and girls from the Merton schools that have supplied the teams of ball boys and ball girls now for some years, plus the Beacon School in Banstead. Trained assiduously by Wally Wanfer, they spend hours on the indoor courts here at Wimbledon, being drilled during the winter months to prepare them for these moments in the sun during the championships. So I think these are lovely moments for these youngsters to remember. The Duchess of Kent, who has always taken such a keen interest in these championships, and who could ever forget that spontaneous gesture the other year when she helped Jana Novotná overcome the grief of losing, when really she should have won. So, as custom demands, the loser goes through first, but I think covered herself in glory today with Sanchez Vicario in this, her first Wimbledon final, and on this form it won't be her last. A lot of Spanish supporters here, besides the members of the Spanish royal family and the Spanish ambassador and his wife. Along with that will be a cheque for £164,000, so some consolation for her. But really the money is irrelevant today. It was all about the occasion, as indeed this moment is, the moment when we re-crown Steffi Graf, one of the greatest players of modern times. Winning here for the 6th time in 7 finals. So a familiar moment both for the Duchess of Kent and Steffi Graf, receiving that beautiful silver gilt salver. The Rosewater dish, which was first played for in the Challenge round of 1886. A copy of an original in the Louvre in Paris.
Ladies and gentlemen,
now
ladies and gentlemen, the chair umpire, Miss Jane Tabor.
Jane Tabor coming forward to receive her medal on court. There's Jane in her second Wimbledon singles final. She's done other finals as well. And if you weren't with us at the beginning, perhaps you at home would like to wish Jane well in August, the 19th to be precise, when she marries Graham Harvey. I'm sure Chris Gorringe, before the photographers get too restive, will take Steffi forward. Yes, he does. Well, Virginia, you've held that aloft. You know what she's going through now. And indeed, what a marvellous recovery it was to come back from near defeat against Jana Novotná and to have won again.
John, we had all the elements of a great tennis match. We had two of the best players. Couldn't find people that you respect more, both as people and as tennis players, and it became so tense. At the end, you didn't know who was more nervous, you didn't know who was going to win, and it's just all credit to them. And really also to Steffi not to falter when it got so very tight at the end of the match.
And the lap of honour, which has become customary now to allow all those people who have brought their cameras with them the chance to take their personal snaps and a memento of a great day here on the centre court at Wimbledon. And it was a great day. That was a lovely final, full of good things, both players having to overcome nervous moments and nervous patches. And at one stage it looked as if Sanchez here was going to break down the strength of Steffi. Her forehand went walkabout for a while, but she found it again. Arantxa just getting a word of comfort from the Duchess, who is so understanding on these occasions of what the players feel. She's sat in the front of the law box for so many years now and watched them suffering and trying their hearts out. So now over to this side of the court to allow the folk over this side to have a chance with their cameras. I'm quite sure that for somebody whose career earnings are over $15 million, the fact that she's won an extra £328,000 today is almost irrelevant, because all she came here for was to win this 6th title. Makes 17 in all now, Grand Slam singles titles. And that is one behind Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova, who stand on 18 singles titles. Ahead of them, the great Helen Wills Moody with 19, Margaret Court with 24, being the best of all. Isn't that a lovely tradition we've established here, which we've been doing now for what, about half a dozen years, I suppose. And the officials lining up there at the net, all part of the occasion. No, you can't have it back. Of course, the champions don't actually take that trophy away with them, but there is a replica in silver, sterling silver. So Steffi will now have 6 of those on her mantelpiece at home. And the original remains here at the club. And if you want to come and see it, well, you can see it in the museum here, the Lawn Tennis Museum, which is open throughout the year at the Olympic Club. So a wonderful match. A real treat to have been here, to have witnessed such a lovely final. And for Steffi Graf, the realisation that she can still count herself among the great players of all time. And a reminder then of how it all ended. Steffi coming forward to hit that slice backhand, still bouncing on her toes. Watching that the ball is out, delight at the realisation that at last she's done it. What a moment.